On today's Toy Spot, we'll be having a look at the DC Direct Batman Arkham City figures. Today we're having a look at Series 2, The Riddler. The Riddler seems to be packaged along with his cane and hat. For anyone asking how much Spot paid for it, I paid $24.99 along with the other figures that made up this set. And luckily, when I went to my local comic book store, they had stocked all of the figures. So I did pretty good for myself. Wallet was kind of going, "Oh my God, what are you doing? We weren't expecting this." And I said, "I'm sorry, Wallet. I had no idea." "You did. You knew." "I didn't know. I really didn't, Wallet. I'm so sorry." At any rate, though, the packaging is nice. The Riddler, I think, pops very well on the packaging. Down below, of course, the Batman logo. On the back of the package, other figures that make up this set. We've got the Riddler, Catwoman, Batman Detective Mode variant. We've got Hush, and finally Jervis Tetch, the Mad Hatter. The read-up, as I didn't read it on the last review, says Batman Arkham City introduces Arkham City, the new maximum security home for all of Gotham City's thugs, gangsters, and insane criminal masterminds. This heavily fortified, sprawling district in the heart of Gotham City becomes the ultimate battleground between the Dark Knight and his greatest adversaries, as he entangles a web of intrigue that threatens to tear the city apart. Batman's supporting cast is transformed by this new locale into a stronger, more dangerous set of enemies and allies, and they'll push him to the limit and beyond. What I am going to do is I'm going to take a bit of a break. We're going to get this opened up, and when we reconvene, we're going to have a better look at the Riddler. There's more to come, guys. Stay tuned. And once again, the two accessories that come with Riddler. For starters, we have ourselves the Riddler cane. It's a little blockier than your traditional Riddler cane. The question mark actually is more square-like than round. He does also come with his boulder hat there. It's a rubber. It has a little bit of give, but it's more solid, a little more solid than what you would normally expect with hats that come with figures. It's a nice color, really. While it is green, of course, there is that little bit of wash on the top there. Kind of gives it that aged, weathered look. Now, I've heard and watched other reviews of the Riddler, and one thing that has been pretty apparent is the pain in the you-know-what to try to get this cane in his hand. Now, while I have not tried it, this is the first time I'm getting the cane into his hand. Hopefully, I'm not going to have any problems. As quickly as I say that, you'll notice, let's zoom in. Looks like he's about to do a clothesline. Oh! We zoom in. You can clearly see the big problem with this particular hand is the fact that it is extremely closed-fisted. Now that's enough that I don't think this is going to fit in his hand very well. You might have to do some finagling to get this actually in his hand. And the last thing, oh, I don't want to say it. You know where I was going with it. I think most of you by now know where I was going with that. I don't want to say it. I was going to try to get it in there, but I'm worried that that's going to break. But he does hold it. You know what? Maybe what I'll do is I'll just take a quick break. I'll see if I can get this in, and we'll come back. We'll be back. Well, that was an ordeal to try to get this blasted cane in his hand, but it is in there. I had to actually pry the hand a bit open with actually, of all things, a butter knife. So for anyone who says butter knives don't do anything but spread butter, I would disagree. Butter knives are also good for prying open hands of plastic action figures. The cane is in his hand, and I'm likely just going to keep it in his hand for how much effort it was to get it in there. But it looks pretty nice with him holding it. I would say, though, and I guess the biggest problem with the handle, it's so slender that had his hand been more open, this probably would have slid around a lot more and not stayed proper in his hand. But it is still kind of loose. I guess it's one of those things that you really just couldn't have done anything about, but oh well. We zoom back. I really like the detail work overall on in the suit. You can see the question mark on the back, several question marks all over his jacket. I really like that kind of plaid checkerboard style tie. Also, that carries over on the sides of his jacket too. I mean, it's a really nice work done. I thought this had been I thought this was going to be a separate piece from the shirt underneath, but it is all one solid sculpt. The tie is a separate piece. As for the face isn't bad. I'm not a fan of the face, but all things considered, it's not too bad. The sculpt on the hair is really good, and he definitely has a real mad look on his face. Let's actually, you know, while we've already discussed the hair, let's actually put the hat on him. That spot almost dropped. There we go. It's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. It could have been a little bit better, but all things considered, I think the face is decent enough. Now we zoom back. I think the choice of green that they used was done really well. It was a good choice of color. No real paint issues, I would say. There's a little bit of a mess going on in the question mark on the back here, but for the most part, it's not too bad. It's definitely not too bad. I would have preferred, again, a display stand. Riddler's a little awkward to try to get to stand just because he's got these long legs that you would think would be a simple case to get him to pose, but there's just something off about his feet that they kind of shoot up like this that make him want to lean forward. Now you can turn the boot slightly. I guess perhaps once you have it on a flat surface, it may not be too bad. But here, it's not going to stand. Display stand would have been nice. Riddler's articulation, by the way, he does have a ball-jointed head. So you can get a pivot on back and forth, rotate all the way around, up and down. He does have a pin and socket shoulder. Shoulders will rotate all the way around. He has a rotation in the forearm that also has a bend in the elbow. He has also a rotation in the wrist area. Nothing, of course, in the waist. He does have a swiveled leg back and forth, a bend at the knee, and he can also swivel at the boot. You could probably get him in several different poses. It's entirely up to you how you would like to have him displayed. I kind of would like to have his head kind of down, holding his cane, like so. Again, I'm not going to start fighting to put the cane in and out of his hand. Likely, I'm just going to keep the cane in his hand. But if you do buy this figure, do expect a struggle to get the blasted cane actually in his hand. While I don't say that Riddler is my favorite figure from this wave, I still think that title goes to Catwoman, with probably a runner-up to Hush. I would say Riddler is definitely a step up from the Jervis Tetch. Is it worth getting? I would say if you like Arkham City, I would say Riddler probably is a good bet to go with. And Riddler, I'm going to give him a 7. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the final figure that made up the DC Direct Batman Arkham City Series 2 figure set. Today we're having a look at Riddler, and aside from the struggles of the cane, not a bad looking figure all around. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.